What's up, everybody? Well, today I am here to bring to you another vacuum that is in my vacuum collection. This time, it is another Hoover. And it is also another convertible style machine. Here I have, for your viewing pleasure today, this Hoover Decade 80. This is one of the many popular convertible models and is one of the top of the line of the convertible / decade series. I've always wanted to get one of these ever since I got my Decade 800, just because it's much older and it is admittedly a little bit better built compared to the later Decade 800 version that came later. Because the Decade 800 actually came out, I think, somewhere in like 88. It was about the time the Hoover Elite got introduced. And since I had the charcoal gray version that pretty much is almost a black color, I've always wanted to get the Decade 80 equivalent of that. And so far, this version came close to that. This is the famous, like, mint green color, which this and the gray version are pretty much the most popular Decade 80 models. And I actually stumbled across this on eBay for, I think it was about $80 plus shipping, if I remember correctly. So I actually do think it was pretty good considering its condition. The only thing I did have to do to it was just do a little bit of servicing, as far as like changing the light bulbs and the belt, but everything else was in very good shape when I got it. And so let's go ahead and give a walkthrough of the machine. So this being the green color of the Decade 80, you are going to have your color matched handle on the top here. One thing that is specific to these Decade machines in the convertible series is that they have their own specific upper handle that isn't rounded off compared to the original convertible. And it also has the same handle top as the non-self-propelled concepts do. And as usual, your power switch is mounted on the back, but one nice thing on these Decades is they have the power surge function, which is a nice feature, but it is also a very odd feature because it's technically a 2-speed motor, but the high speed is actually a momentary selection. As you can see, this switch springs back into the what would be considered low speed position. I'm guessing Hoover actually did this because the motor likely wasn't designed to run at very high speeds for very long, so they just do it as a momentary switch, and then it springs back to the on position when you're not holding down the switch, so it prevents extra wear on the motor, which I don't know why they did this instead of just like making the motor a little bit more durable to withstand higher speeds, but it is what it is. I'm not going to argue with that, and it still works good regardless. You have your nice Hoover symbol on the front here, power surge logo down below. You have your power cord mounted on the side. And this is, I do believe it's in like a 30-foot range, so it is pretty nice. And what I really like the cord length on this, because the cord length that's on the original low-end convertibles is just very short. I mean, it's almost practically inusable or unusable because of how short it is. And so anyway, as we move down here, you do have right here your your carpet height adjustment viewing window right here. There's low position for shag, then high, low, normal and low. I always leave it on the normal for the pile of this carpet. And you will notice that the wheels, when the carpet height adjustment, the back wheels are the adjusting wheels, not the front. You see the wheels kind of move outward. The only thing I don't like about this carpet height adjustment is it kind of digs into the outer bag, which may cause wear over time. But underneath, you will notice, yeah, the rear wheel is the one that adjusts and not the front, which does take a bit of getting used to, but that's the thing with these old convertibles. A couple other vacuums did adjust by the rear wheels, but that was a thing back then, before a lot of vacuum manufacturers had decided the front wheels were easier to adjust the brush height up and down. And right here you do have your Decade 80 emblem on the front with edge cleaning, your Hoover symbol right up there, and you also do have edge lights, which is a feature very specific to the Decade series, meaning the headlight actually shines outward on either side. It's a very unique light beam pattern, which you guys are going to see once I turn this thing on and demo it later. So let's go ahead and put this thing on its back to show you the underside. So underneath here is the brush roll that is in it. It's the famous Hoover triple action agitator, meaning it beats as it sweeps as it cleans. And this does have replaceable brush strips. This uses the red bristle brush strips, and the bristles are medium stiff, but they are very sparse. Or excuse me, actually dense is what they are. Yeah, they're very dense, and this cleans very great. And the one thing I do love about these old Decade 80 machines is that the older models came with metal base plates. And you could obviously just do this to take your base plate off if you need to change your belt. And right in there is the fan impeller. This is a 6-bladed fan. The early models did have an 11 blade, but which they would eventually get rid of when they went to these more high performance motors in the later years. Now let's go ahead and make somewhat of an attempt to put this on. This latch system on this is really not very well designed, if you ask me, because the original version that had the latches mounted back here was much more durable in holding this metal base plate on, which this latch style would eventually carry over to the plastic base plate in later years. And it definitely held down the base plate much better than this does. I'm not too sure whether my latches are just very bent and worn out, or if that's just by its design, but this doesn't really hold on as secure as I would like it to, though it's not terrible. And here is the model number for the machine right here. It says Hoover Cleaner model U4381-030. 120 volts, 60 hertz. This has a 6 amp motor, a little bit different than the traditional 5 amp that you would normally see out of the convertibles at this time. The bag type is A. The belt is 49258. And the serial number is a really big mystery on these 87 and earlier model Hoovers. They're just not very easy to serial decode compared to the later years. If anyone knows how, please let me know, but I want to say this thing was made in the early to mid 80s for the Hoover Company of North Canton, Ohio, made in the USA. That is one thing to love about these older vacuums, Hoovers especially for others, and others as well, is that they are US made. And to get access to your bag on this thing, the zipper is a weird convertible quirk, is all the way at the bottom and it zips up to get access. I do not know why Hoover reversed the zipper on these convertible and decade machines. But this does take a Type A bag. It is a top fill design versus the Type C bags that you normally would find in low-end convertibles. And I find much more convenient to have this Type A bag. Plus, you can get HEPA bags in these as well, so that's a big plus. It is taking me some getting used to with the reverse zipper on these. And here's your fresh scent tablet on the top here. And you can actually pull this out to change out the scent tablet. As you can see, I don't have one in there because it completely went missing over the years. But anyway, that's where it would go. And so far, I think I've pretty much shown you about as much of this machine as I can. Now let's go ahead and release the cord and give you a demo of this running. So the top cord hook does swivel. One thing I do like about these cord hooks on these decades and some of the non-rewind concepts is that when the cord hook swivels, there's a bottom section that kind of pulls over, and then it helps pull the cord off so it releases much easier. I really like that. And especially love it how these have a cord release when the regular convertible doesn't. And the cord is very nice and long on these decades. They're just much more usable than the original cord this would have came with. And unfortunately, we do have a tear right here in the cord, so it's not in perfect condition. But let's go ahead and plug this guy in. And we will go ahead and turn this thing on and give you a demo of it running. And power switch is on the back of the cleaner of the top handle. And so, here we go. That's how it runs.
I'll go ahead and show you the power surge function. And back to normal. Very smooth running cleaner. It cleans very nice. Just a testament to how vacuums were built back in the day. It wasn't all about high suction and bagless technology as it was today. Well, everybody, I hope you've enjoyed this full video on the Hoover Decade 80. Be sure and stay tuned, and don't forget to like, rate, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.